we weren't actually safe when the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island said, I know we're safe because there's been no additional shooting since Saturday morning. Actually, the MIT professor was not safe. No one was safe until that guy put a bullet in his own brain. Here's what we know about the shooter. His name is Claudio Neves Valente, and he's a 48-year-old Portuguese national. So, I mean, who predicted he was going to be from Portugal? What? Who entered the country on a student visa in 2000. He started at Brown University's physics PhD program in the fall of that year, 2000, but took a leave of absence after the spring of 2001 semester and formally withdrew from the university in 2003. So what was he doing here? Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem gave some color on X last night.
Before we go further, make sure you're subscribed and hit like. We break down the law, the facts, and the media narratives without speculation or spin.
Claudio Manuel Neves Valente entered the United States through the Diversity Lottery Immigrant Visa Program, DV1, in 2017 and was granted a green card. This heinous individual should never have been allowed in our country. In 2017, President Trump fought to end this program following the devastating New York City truck ramming by an ISIS terrorist who entered under the DV1 program and murdered 8 people. At President Trump's direction, I am immediately directing USCIS to pause the DV1 program to ensure no more Americans are harmed by this disastrous program, unquote. The AP reporting it was not immediately clear where he was between taking a leave of absence from Brown University in 2001 and getting the visa in 2017. As far as the shooter's connection to the slain MIT professor, the FBI believes that they attended the same university in Portugal, where the professor is also from. The shooter's 48, the dead professor 47. No other information about motive is yet available. We have no idea. I mean, no idea. By the way, there was a report, he'd been yelling something. What was it? They came out last night. Nobody knows. Somebody said he might have been like growling. Nobody knows. We don't know why he did what he did. As we've been reporting, the Providence police and mayor mostly looked feckless and incompetent throughout this investigation. And it now appears that they had no major leads until Wednesday. We'll have more on that in a bit. But that did, and like I said, a man died. I'm not blaming the Brown and the Providence officials for this murder of the MIT professor. But I would think when you're like, yeah, you don't need to shelter in place, no one else has died, and then a man dies, and then you find out it's the same shooter, it might tamp down your self-congratulatory tone when you come out to say he's finally been caught. Watch this.
Tonight, our Providence neighbors can finally breathe a little easier. We all worked well together to be able to identify this suspect.
I'm extremely proud of this department, and actually the officers, the detectives. It was all about groundwork, public assistance, interviews of individuals, and good old-fashioned policing.
And I will say that everybody brought a certain expertise to the table. You can feel like you're chasing leads and they don't work out. But the team keeps going. But when you do crack it, you crack it.
Okay. Joining me now to react to this and so much more is Buck Sexton.
And this is where the story shifts from a criminal case into something much bigger. If this breakdown is helping you separate fact from online noise, tap like. It helps more people find clear analysis like this. Because what happened next changed the cultural conversation entirely. Joining in now is Dave Smith, host of Part of the Problem. Dave, this wasn't just a crime. It became a cultural and political flashpoint almost instantly.
Buck, welcome back. What do you make of the apprehension of the suspect who was dead, but they did find him? We don't know when he killed himself. Could have been as they closed in, could have been earlier. Point is, he's dead and he's not going to hurt any other people. But the back patting by the Keystone Cop crew was a bit much.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Megyn. I think that this has become a little bit of a trend, and it needs to stop. And I speak with some background in this because I was at the NYPD Intelligence Division doing high-profile counterterrorism investigations, including the Times Square bombing of that Faisal Shahzad carried out. And so I remember getting called in on the weekend because the bombing happened, and we had a task force, FBI, all these other agencies, and we had to find this guy. We got him. We got him at the airport, actually on a plane on his way to Pakistan. So that was a near miss. And I think everybody took a moment to say, oh, wow, we got to move a little faster next time to get an individual. There wasn't a press conference called for everybody to high-five each other in law enforcement. And I think that this is something that everyone who's observing these press conferences now, because they are major news events, they shouldn't be used as PR campaigns for a department, for a mayor, for a governor, for any of the above. They didn't do great.
For the FBI.
Yeah, or the FBI. Yeah, the FBI did this too recently, and I called it out on my radio show, Megyn. It was we're so great, we're doing amazing work. You don't need to tell us.
It was a little uncomfortable.
It was weird. It needs to stop. And I think that this, unfortunately, maybe is a byproduct also of like the social media era, where people want to be able to take a bow publicly, but there's no need for what we saw in Providence, Rhode Island here. I mean, this was way too congratulatory. I mean, people were shot, people were killed, and they didn't get this guy really. I mean, he killed himself. So they need to slow their roll a little bit and focus on good police work next time. And also don't tell us to avoid misinformation online. That has a very Orwellian tone to it. Like, you got to be careful about all the misinformation. No, we don't. Go find the shooter.
No, we were getting lectured to. Even last night, Christina Paxson, who is the president of Brown University, was out there sending an email to people being like, it was just very unfortunate, the misinformation that went around about, potential people involved in this when looking at their social media. And it was like she was kind of over the top in her chastising. It was like, you know what? You know what actually solved the case? Social media solved the case. Some guy who saw the suspect was posting what he saw to Reddit, and like in great detail. And the Redditors encouraged him to go to the police, which he then did. And this guy proved to be, it looks like, we believe, the critical force that led to this guy's identification and not arrest, but murder. I mean, suicide.
From what I understand, Megyn, and there's still details coming in, but it seems that this guy who committed this mass murder and suicide took some security steps as well to make this more difficult. And I think that with law enforcement, they have some incredible tools, again, tools that I actually used in a prior life myself. Things like people will say, well, why can't they just ping his cell phone? Well, they can, but this guy apparently didn't take his cell phone with him for the shootings. Why can't they?
Or they're saying he may have had foreign SIM cards.
Yeah, or he changed out his SIM card. But I mean, he didn't bring like his "this is who I am, this is my name" cell phone with me. Even if you ping phones, you're pinging in an area. So there could, and then a place like Brown University, there's going to be, I don't know, a couple thousand people that are probably pinging off that tower. So it can whittle things down, but it doesn't mean that you have the so-called smoking gun right away. This guy took some steps. I mean, it seems like this is some kind of personal grudge / psychosis, but we'll find out more. Clearly, I think it's more than a coincidence that he studied with this guy at a Portuguese university. I don't think that's a leap. So he knew that guy. But I think that law enforcement here got caught flat-footed because the initial things that they go to in this situation, right away they go to the surveillance footage, right away they go to cell phones. If somebody is good enough at covering their tracks on those fronts, then it's old-fashioned police work, and Reddit might move a lot faster on that than some of these cops can. That's just the truth.
Yeah, here's what we know. And just a word of caution to the audience. It's not totally clear how it all went down, not surprisingly, given the law enforcement we're dealing with. But we're gleaning the following. This actually does come from the supporting arrest affidavit. That there was a tip received on Tuesday, December 16th. Does not give a date for when the Reddit post was put up on Reddit. But 3 days after the deadly shooting at Brown, officers received an anonymous tip that stuck out from a flood of information. It directed the authorities to a post on Reddit. Quote, "I'm being dead serious. The police need to look into a gray Nissan with Florida plates, possibly a rental. That was the car he was driving. It was parked in front of the little shack behind the Rhode Island Historical Society on the Cook Street side. I know because he used his key fob to open the car, approached it, and then something prompted him to back away. When he backed away, he relocked the car. I found that odd. So when he circled the block, I approached the car, and that is when I saw the Florida plates. He was parked in the section between the gate of the Rhode Island Historical Society and the corner of Cook and George Street. Now, based on that post, the police say they expanded their video search, looking at people's cameras, to the Rhode Island Historical Society area. Investigators located a gray/blue Nissan sedan. Police then released still images of the then unknown person, later identified as John, who interacted with the suspect at approximately 2:16 p.m. on December 13th. And then here's another one. Wednesday, December 17th. The Reddit poster approached the cops on the street near Brown. And by the way, it looks like they did not go find John after he posted that tip. Like, I'm not sure what they did, to be honest with you, after they saw that Reddit tip. They're kind of suggesting that they took it seriously. Okay. Then they say a day after the Reddit post was made, the writer approached law enforcement officials and told them about his encounter with a suspicious man in Brown University's Barris and Holly building. The tipster, whom the police referred to only as John, said he had encountered the suspect inside a bathroom on the ground floor of the building between 1:45 p.m. and 2 p.m., around 2 hours before the first shots were reported. John said the suspect's clothing was inappropriate for the weather and they had made eye contact. John told the police he followed the man after he left the building to a Nissan vehicle with a Florida plate, but instead of entering the vehicle, the suspect started walking around the block with John behind him. So this sounds like the same person. John said it was like a game of cat and mouse. At one point, the two men spoke. According to the affidavit, John asked the suspect, "Your car's back there. Why are you circling the block?" To which the suspect responded, "Why are you harassing me?" John went his own way soon after that. When the police showed John images of the suspect's car from safety cameras, he said that might be it. And here's the last one, Buck. Per the affidavit, morning of Wednesday, December 17th, a separate university employee, a Brown University faculty member, had also described a suspicious vehicle in the same neighborhood, a gray sedan with Florida plates, on Thursday, December 11th at 9:15 a.m. It did not take long for investigators to find that the car was from an Alamo rental location in downtown Boston, and from the rental agreement, they got a name, Claudio Manuel Neves Valente. So that's how they caught him. There were things happening on the Boston end, too, around the MIT professor, but it was this Reddit guy. It seems like it was this guy who posted on Reddit named John, who Jesse Waters had a guest last night, was reporting they believe is a former Brown student who is now homeless. Unconfirmed, but that was reported both online and on Fox last night.
Well, yeah, there's crowdsourcing has been around for a while, and I think it's getting more and more sophisticated because keep in mind the tools that are available to the general public now when you start adding in AI. I use AI now, just as a side note, all the time, and I'm amazed at what it can do. I was putting together a guns.
Which one do you use?
I use Grok exclusively.
Oh yeah,
I'm a Grok guy.
Good.
Yeah, I'm an investor in Grok. I love Grok. So anyway, I actually was putting together a gun safe yesterday, and I was able to just take a photo of the safe from a distance and say, how do I do all these things and how do I program everything? And it's better than any manual. I mean, it's incredible what it can do. I bring this up in the context of this investigation because now you can work with pretty sophisticated tools if you have still images, if you have basic geolocation data. I mean, you can start to do some high level, certainly much more high level than would have even been capable by law enforcement 10, 15 years ago. So this is catching up really quickly. And this is, I think, changing the world all around us in a whole range of ways. But the ability now to, I mean, think about this. How far are we from facial recognition being something? Now, I know this guy, I think his face was covered, but just...
They're already using that in some police departments across the country.
Oh, in police departments they are. I mean, people being able to run programs at home. You know, this is, I mean, the tech is getting so widespread that what we used to think of as a law enforcement exclusive tool, I think, is going to be something that you're seeing in the hands of these online sleuths. And look, I mean, now this is a whole other discussion, but there was a whole effort, as we all know, online, the FBI not only had 30% of them weaponized under Biden against the J6 protesters, but there was a big online effort to track all those people down too. So the public has become mobilized in a whole range of ways to be able to help law enforcement for good and for ill, depending on the situation. But that's what's going on.
It's very creepy.
Yeah.
We had somebody on the show. She had written a book on this, and she was talking about how they've got these glasses already, not available for purchase yet, but these glasses that you could put on, and you could walk into a bar, and let's say I see you, but I don't know you at this point, and I go over and I try to hit on you, Buck Sexton, and you're like, "Get out of here, old lady. I'm married. I'm a happily married man." But now I'm like, I'm pissed. Who is that cocky former CIA type? I'm going to get him. And I tap my glasses, and based on facial recognition, not only do they tell me it's Buck Sexton, they tell me where you live. They tell me where you went to school. They tell me all this identifying personal information about you, which is just a very effed up way to live.
Privacy is essentially going to be a thing of the past. I mean, we already have active microphones that we carry all throughout our homes all the time. I mean, yes, you and I, Megyn, make a living by doing media, so there's cameras and high-end audio equipment in certain rooms, but people are carrying around open mics all the time. We've all had this thing of you start talking about some subject and then you get an ad about it on your phone served to you and you're on Google or whatever it is. This is real. This is all around us. And as the technology is going to, this is a bit like Moore's law with computing power, and the technology that you have access to from AI is going to continue to get more and more sophisticated, such that you're going to have people who, the second that they release anything about a major incident of public, whether it's a mass shooting or any major incident of public interest, the entire internet is going to be able to use these different. Now, I understand there's problems with this too. How do you verify? Who do you trust? How do you know? But the data and the access to analysis of that data that everyone's going to have is, we are in a brave new world that is changing. And the fact, I mean, you just read that whole Reddit thread. I mean, that was more sophisticated than most of the police reports that I used to read when I was in the intel division. I mean, that was more detailed. It was more.
This guy, if this really is a homeless guy, I mean, this is a hero. This guy, John, is a hero. He posted something this morning saying, "I'm not going to be posting really anything else. He said, I might like up comments, like positive comments, things that I like online, but that's all I'm going to do." But we got to know more about John.